Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for a moment, and release. Imagine leaving the noise of the world behind you, the harsh city lights, the glowing screens, the endless rush of the day. Let them all fade away. You are about to embark on a journey far beyond the glowing cities, beyond the blue skies, into the greatest, quietest expanse imaginable. We are often taught to look at the universe as an ocean of blinding stars. We imagine colorful nebulas and brilliant galaxies illuminating the dark. But what if I told you that this is a cosmic illusion? Today we will confront the harsh yet deeply peaceful reality of how dark space actually is. We will strip away the glowing filters of long-exposure telescopes. We will travel into the true void, a place of eternal, comforting night. Allow yourself to let go of your earthly worries. The problems of the day mean nothing out here. Let the infinite darkness embrace you. Let it calm your racing mind. Let it show you a quiet, beautiful truth. You are safe in the dark. Are you ready to leave the light? Before we plunge into the great abyss, we must first understand why we see light at all. For millennia, humanity has stared up at the heavens from the surface of Earth. Ancient philosophers and early astronomers believed the universe was a celestial sphere dotted with eternal warm fires. Our eyes evolved to seek the light, to find comfort in the warmth of our sun. Even our modern telescopes, like Hubble and James Webb, are designed to collect single photons over hundreds of hours. They gather invisible light and process it into explosive supernovas and neon-painted clouds of cosmic dust. This has painted a picture in our collective mind, a picture of a bustling, bright, almost crowded universe. But this image is deeply misleading. It is the equivalent of taking a photograph of a dark forest with a powerful flash and believing the forest is always brightly lit. The truth is governed by the vast, incomprehensible distances between these rare islands of light. To truly grasp the calming nature of the cosmos, we must look not at the stars, but at the immense, quiet spaces between them. We must look into the shadows. But what hides behind the glowing veil of our night sky? Let us begin by breaking a common illusion. When you step outside on a clear night, you look up. You see thousands of twinkling stars. It feels as though space is a bright, welcoming canopy. But this is a beautiful deception created by our atmosphere. The gases of Earth wrap around us like a warm blanket, scattering starlight in every direction. The myth we must shatter right now is that the universe is filled with this ambient glow. It is not. Imagine standing in a brilliantly lit room, looking out a window into the deep woods at midnight. The glass reflects your own light back at you. You cannot see the vastness of the dark forest. Earth is that brilliantly lit room. To see the true universe, we must step outside. As we drift upward, leaving the atmosphere, the scattered light abruptly vanishes. The stars stop twinkling. They become harsh, piercing pinpricks surrounded by an overwhelming ocean of absolute darkness. This is the first taste of the true void. Breathe in the quiet. Let the pure, unfiltered contrast calm you. What happens when we finally leave the Earth behind? We enter the vacuum. You might have been told that a vacuum is completely empty, a dead space. While it is devoid of air, it is full of hidden distances. Let us drift away from our blue planet. Watch as the glowing sphere of Earth slowly shrinks into a pale marble. Here, the darkness begins to press in on all sides. It is a soft darkness. It is not aggressive, it is simply absolute. Imagine floating in the center of an underground cave with all the lanterns extinguished. You cannot see your own hands. You cannot see your own body. You only see the distant, uncaring stars. There is no dust here to catch the sunlight. There is no air to scatter the rays. You are surrounded by a profound emptiness. This emptiness is deeply peaceful. There is no wind to disturb you. There is no sound to wake you, just the steady, gentle drift through an eternal night. The harsh reality of space is that it does not accommodate light easily. Light must struggle to be seen. You can rest your eyes here. But what happens to the brilliant light of our sun in this vacuum? A persistent myth tells us that sunbeams shoot through space like golden lasers. We see this in movies, a spaceship flying through a brilliant, glowing ray of sunlight. But this is entirely false. In the vacuum of space, light is utterly invisible unless it directly enters your eye or hits an object. Imagine shining a powerful flashlight in a perfectly clean, pitch-black room with absolutely no dust in the air. You would not see the beam. You would only see a bright circle where the light hits the far wall. Space is that impeccably clean room. If you look away from the sun, space is black. The sunlight is speeding right past you, silently, invisibly. Millions of photons are rushing by, yet the space around you remains completely dark. It is a phantom light. This is the soothing paradox of the cosmos. It is filled with blazing energy, yet it looks entirely calm and dark. Let this invisible energy wash over you as you drift deeper. Let us journey toward the moon to witness this harsh contrast. How does the darkness interact with the rock? On Earth, shadows are soft. They are grey, diffused by the air and the sky. You might imagine lunar shadows to be similar, but the reality is far more severe. Step onto the dusty surface of the moon. Look at the shadows cast by the craters. They are not grey, they are pitch, absolute black. There is no scattered light to soften them. Imagine cutting a hole in the fabric of reality itself. That is what a lunar shadow looks like. If you step into the shadow of a large boulder, you disappear into the night. It is as if the universe has swallowed you whole. But there is nothing to fear in this shadow. It is cool, it is private. It is a perfect hiding place from the harsh glare of the sun. Stand in the shadow and look up. Even in the middle of the lunar day, the sky above you is entirely black. The stars shine steadily next to the blazing sun. The darkness is always there, waiting just an inch away from the light. How far must we travel to escape the sun's warmth? As we move outward toward Mars, the vastness of the dark becomes apparent. We often misjudge the scale of the solar system. Textbooks show planets lined up closely, bathed in equal light. We must unlearn this myth. The distance between planets is an ocean of nothingness. Imagine a single grain of sand sitting in the middle of a massive empty football stadium. The next grain of sand is in another stadium miles away. That is the reality of our solar system. As we cross millions of miles of empty space toward Mars, the sun begins to shrink. It becomes just a very bright star. The ambient heat is gone. The darkness is not just a lack of light, it is a physical presence. It is a deep, endless cold. Yet this cold is not biting, it is preserving. It is a state of perfect preservation. Drift through this freezing void. Feel the slow, calming rhythm of the planets. They are isolated islands in a magnificent sea of dark. Let the vast distances stretch your mind. What hides within the asteroid belt? We are crossing the boundary between the inner and outer solar system. Hollywood movies have taught us that the asteroid belt is a dense minefield of tumbling rocks, crashing into each other in a chaotic storm. This is a dramatic myth. In reality, the darkness here is overwhelmingly empty. If you stood on an asteroid, the nearest neighboring rock would be over 1 million miles away. You would see nothing but the black void. Imagine standing on a tiny, solitary raft in the middle of the Pacific Ocean at midnight, knowing the next raft is an ocean away. The isolation is absolute. The darkness here is a master of camouflage. The asteroids are composed of dark, ancient rock. They reflect very little of the fading sunlight. They move silently, like ghosts, through the black ocean. There is no chaos. There is only a slow, eternal, majestic silence. The true asteroid belt is a place of meditation, a place where things move beautifully and slowly through the dark. Rest your thoughts here for a moment. How dim does it become as we approach the giants? We are now arriving at Jupiter, the king of planets. You might expect it to be brilliantly lit, a glowing sphere of colourful storms. While it is massive, the light here is tired. The sun is now hundreds of millions of miles away. Sunlight at Jupiter is 25 times weaker than on Earth. The reality is that Jupiter exists in a state of eternal twilight. Imagine a deeply overcast, gloomy winter evening on Earth just before the sun sets completely. That is the brightest it ever gets here. The vibrant reds and oranges of Jupiter's clouds are muted. The great red spot is shrouded in a dim, calming dusk. Dive into the shadow of this massive planet. The darkness behind Jupiter is colossal. It casts a shadow millions of miles long. Floating in this shadow is like floating in the deep sea. The blackness wraps around you, thick and protective. It is a cosmic blanket. Let the weight of this giant, silent shadow ground you and calm your spirit. But surely the rings of Saturn bring light to the void. As we glide further into the outer solar system, we reach Saturn. It is often portrayed as a glowing jewel. But let us face the harsh reality of the distance. Sunlight at Saturn is 100 times weaker than on Earth. The myth of glowing golden rings must fade into the shadows. The rings are made of ice, yes, but they are drifting in a profound gloom. Imagine wandering through a vast, abandoned cathedral by the light of a single dying candle. The pale light barely catches the frozen dust. The rings do not glow, they merely whisper in the dark. They are ghostly grey arcs suspended in the blackness. Fly between the rings. Feel the freezing, silent chunks of ancient ice passing by. They do not collide, they orbit in perfect, quiet harmony. The darkness between the ice crystals is absolute. The void is not empty. It is a canvas upon which the faintest traces of light are painted. Watch the pale ice fade into the shadows. Let your breathing match the slow orbit of the rings. What lies in the deep freeze of Uranus and Neptune? We are stepping onto the porch of the solar system. Here the sun is no longer a disk, it is merely a bright point of light. The myth of a sunlit solar system ends here. Welcome to the permanent twilight. Uranus and Neptune are ice giants, silently rolling through the deep dark. Imagine standing in the middle of a frozen tundra during the darkest night of winter with no moon in the sky. That is the reality of this space. The light here is 900 times weaker than what we know. The pale blue atmosphere of Neptune is barely visible against the velvet black of the cosmos. The cold is unimaginable, but this deep freeze brings an incredible stillness. There is no rushing here, there is no rapid movement. Time itself seems to slow down in the dark. The dark slows the heart, it calms the mind. Drift beside these frozen giants. Let the quiet of the outer solar system wash away your stress. You are so far from the noise, you are perfectly isolated. Are there still celestial bodies hiding in the eternal night? We enter the Kuiper Belt, the realm of Pluto and distant icy worlds. The myth is that these planets are clearly visible to one another. The reality is a terrifyingly beautiful blindness. Out here, objects are so far apart, and the light is so impossibly faint that you would not even know you were passing a planet. Imagine flying a plane over an unlit continent at midnight, looking for a single black stone on the ground. The darkness is thick, it is almost a physical substance. Pluto orbits in a perpetual gloom. At noon on Pluto, the light is comparable to the darkest moments right after sunset on Earth. It is a dusky, fading grey. The shadows are long and heavy. Look back toward the center of the solar system. Our brilliant sun is just a distant star, lost among a sea of others. The earth is entirely invisible. The darkness has swallowed our home completely. Feel the profound separation. It is not lonely, it is liberating. You are untethered. You are free. What is the boundary between our home and the great beyond? We have reached the heliopause. This is the absolute edge of the solar system. It is where the solar wind finally loses its battle against the interstellar medium. The myth is that leaving the solar system is a sudden, bright transition into a new star field. The truth is a quiet plunge into a bottomless ocean. Imagine standing on the edge of a tiny, dim raft. You step off the edge, sinking slowly into the pitch-black water of the Marianas Trench. That is the heliopause. The warmth of our sun ceases to exist here. The particles of our star simply stop moving outward. They surrender to the overwhelming pressure of the dark. As we cross this boundary, the silence deepens. The darkness becomes thicker, colder, and older. You are no longer within the protective bubble of our star. You have entered the true cosmic ocean. The darkness here has been undisturbed since the dawn of time. Breathe slowly. You have left the shallows. You are entering the deep. What exactly is the space between the stars? Welcome to the interstellar medium. You might assume that space between stars is just a clean, empty vacuum waiting for light. This is a common myth. In reality, it is filled with unseen, cold dust and ancient gas. But it is profoundly dark. Imagine wandering through a massive cavern filled with a thin, invisible smoke. There is no light source to reveal the smoke. You cannot see it, but you are moving through it. This interstellar dust is the ashes of dead stars. It drifts silently in the void. This dust absorbs what little starlight exists, making the darkness even more oppressive. It acts like a cosmic fog, hiding the distant stars, muting their brilliance. You are floating through a graveyard of stars, a nursery waiting for the spark of life. The temperature here is just barely above absolute zero. It is perfectly still. Let this stillness penetrate your mind. There is nothing you need to do here. There is nowhere you need to be. Just float in the invisible mist of the void. How far must we drift to find the next star? The human mind struggles with the harsh reality of stellar distances. We often picture stars clustered close together, like city lights viewed from an airplane. We must abandon this myth. Stars are incredibly isolated. We are heading toward Proxima Centauri, our nearest neighbor. It is over 4 light-years away. To understand this darkness, imagine you are a grain of glowing sand in New York. The next nearest grain of glowing sand is in Los Angeles. Between them is absolutely nothing but blackness. For tens of thousands of human years, you could travel at incredible speeds and see nothing change. The darkness is relentlessly uniform. You would look out the window of your ship and see the exact same black canvas, day after day, century after century. It is a journey of sensory deprivation. But this deprivation is incredibly relaxing. The mind stops searching for patterns. It stops searching for threats. It yields to the calm consistency of the dark. Yield your mind to it now. Do nebulas light up the interstellar night? We often look at photographs of nebulas, like the Orion Nebula, and see brilliant clouds of pink, purple, and green. We imagine flying through them would be like flying through a glowing neon cloud. This is perhaps the greatest myth of all. The harsh reality is that nebulas are impossibly dim. They only look bright to telescopes that stare at them for hundreds of hours, collecting single photons. If you were floating directly inside the Orion Nebula, you would see almost nothing. Imagine being inside a room filled with a very thin, dark grey smoke, with a single dim bulb miles away. To your human eyes, it would just look like the regular, pitch-black void of space. The beautiful colors are invisible to us. The darkness reigns supreme even inside the nurseries of stars. The universe does not put on a light show for its inhabitants. It remains entirely hidden. The beauty of space is not in its blazing colors, but in its hidden, quiet secrets. Relax into the unseen. What is the true journey of a beam of light? Let us follow a single photon emitted by a distant star. You might think light travels proudly, illuminating its path. But a photon's journey is a solitary, dark one. As soon as it leaves the star, it enters the black void. It does not light up the space around it. It flies in absolute darkness for millions of years. Imagine a silent, invisible arrow shot across an impossibly large, pitch-black canyon. No one can see the arrow. It produces no glow. It only becomes light when it finally hits an obstacle. This photon will travel in the dark, unbothered, undisturbed for eons. It does not age. It does not tire. It simply waits in the black. This is the nature of the cosmos. It is filled with speeding light that cannot be seen. The universe is a web of invisible beams crossing in the dark. Find comfort in this invisible energy. You don't need to see everything to know it is there. The dark is holding light in secret. How cold does the true dark get? You may have heard the myth that space is absolute zero, the temperature where all movement stops. While the reality is not absolute zero, it is incredibly close. The background temperature of the deep void is about 2.7 degrees above absolute zero. Imagine sitting in a room where the concept of heat has simply been erased. It is not the biting wind of a winter storm. It is a completely static, motionless chill. It is the temperature of the void left over from the birth of the universe. In this deep cold, time itself feels frozen. Atoms barely vibrate. They sleep. The darkness acts as a perfect refrigerator, preserving the ancient history of the cosmos. Feel the cooling sensation of the void. Let it cool your thoughts. Let it slow down your heartbeat. The frenetic energy of your daily life cannot survive here. It freezes and drifts away. You are left with a cool, pristine, calming emptiness. Can you hear the darkness? We often associate darkness with silence, but on Earth, true silence is impossible. There is always the wind, the hum of electricity, the breathing of life. The myth of space battles filled with explosive sounds is famous, but the harsh reality of the void is absolute, terrifying, beautiful silence. Sound requires a medium. It needs air or water to travel. In the immense dark of the interstellar medium, there are not enough atoms to carry a sound wave. If a supernova exploded right next to you, destroying planets and boiling oceans, you would hear absolutely nothing. It would be a silent film. Imagine screaming at the top of your lungs, and not even a whisper leaves your mouth. The darkness absorbs all noise. It is the ultimate soundproof room. This cosmic silence is the ultimate remedy for an overstimulated mind. Let the absolute quiet wash out the noise in your head. There is nothing to hear. There is only peace. What happens when we leave our galaxy behind? We are moving past the edge of the Milky Way. We are entering the intergalactic medium, the space between galaxies. You might think that once you leave the galaxy, you will be treated to a majestic view of spinning spiral galaxies dotting the sky. We must break this myth. The distance between galaxies is so unimaginably vast that they appear as nothing more than faint, smudged stars. The light from the Milky Way fades behind us. We are entering the great nothing. Imagine swimming in an ocean so deep that the surface light is completely gone and the ocean floor is miles below. You are suspended in black water. The intergalactic dark is the purest dark we have yet encountered. There is less than 1 atom per cubic meter here. It is the closest thing to true emptiness in the physical world. The darkness here is not a place, it is a state of being. It is the ultimate release. You are completely untethered from anything physical. Are there places in the universe where even the galaxies disappear? Yes, welcome to the cosmic voids. The most famous is the Boötes void. It is a spherical region of space nearly 330 million light-years across. The myth is that the universe is an even distribution of stars and galaxies. The reality is that the universe is like a sponge, and we are entering an empty pocket. Imagine a desert so vast that you could walk for 1,000 lifetimes and never see a grain of sand. If the Earth were placed in the center of the Boötes void, humanity would not have known other galaxies existed until the 1960s. The darkness inside this void is so profound, so ancient, that it challenges human comprehension. There are no nearby stars, there are no nebulas, there is just an endless, expanding dark. Floating in the Boötes void is the ultimate experience of isolation. Let this grand emptiness absorb your worries. Your problems cannot exist in a space this massive. They simply dissolve into the black. Why is the universe dark at all? This brings us to a famous question, Olbers' paradox. If the universe is infinite and contains an infinite number of stars, shouldn't the sky be entirely covered in starlight? Shouldn't the night sky be as bright as the sun? The myth is that the dark is just an absence of nearby stars. But the harsh reality is that the darkness is a testament to the speed of light and the beginning of time. Light takes time to reach us. Imagine standing in a massive, flat field with millions of people holding lanterns. But the field is so large, the light from the farthest people hasn't reached your eyes yet. And some of those people are moving away from you so fast, their light will never reach you. The darkness you see between the stars is the limit of our vision. It is the edge of observable time. When you look at the dark night sky, you are literally looking back at the beginning of the universe, before the first stars were born. You are looking at the dark origin. What happens to the ancient light that tries to cross the void? As light travels across billions of light-years, it fights a losing battle against the expansion of space itself. This is called redshift. The universe is stretching. The myth is that starlight shines eternally with the same brightness. The reality is that the darkness stretches the light until it breaks. Imagine drawing a tight, bright wave on a rubber band. Now pull the ends of the rubber band. The wave stretches. It becomes longer, flatter, weaker. As space expands, the light waves from distant galaxies are stretched. They shift from visible blue to red to invisible infrared and finally to microwaves. The light literally fades into the darkness. The void is actively erasing the light of the ancient universe. The dark is winning. But this is not a tragedy. It is the natural, calming rhythm of the cosmos. The universe is slowly turning off its lights. It is preparing for a deep, eternal rest. Drift with this fading light. Can we feel the unseen forces in the dark? We must now confront the invisible ghost of the universe, dark matter. You might think the darkness is just empty space. The myth is that what we see is all there is. The reality is far more mysterious. The dark is heavy. It has mass. Dark matter makes up most of the universe, yet it emits no light, reflects no light, and blocks no light. It is entirely invisible. Imagine diving into a perfectly clear, unlit pool, but the water feels thick, like syrup. You cannot see the syrup, but you feel its weight guiding you. Dark matter forms a massive, invisible web across the universe. It holds galaxies together. It is the invisible skeleton of the cosmos. You are floating through an invisible ocean. The dark is not empty, it is full. It is quietly holding everything together. Let the invisible weight of the dark matter hold you. It is a protective embrace. You don't need to understand it to be supported by it. What is the ultimate incarnation of cosmic darkness? We journey now to the center of a dying galaxy to meet a black hole. The myth is that a black hole is a cosmic vacuum cleaner, violently sucking everything into a glowing maelstrom. While accretion disks can glow, the black hole itself is the harsh reality of absolute dark. It is a place where gravity is so strong that not even light can escape. Imagine a heavy bowling ball placed on a trampoline, creating a deep well. A black hole is a well with no bottom. When you look at the event horizon, you are not looking at a dark object. You are looking at the absence of reality. It is a perfect, featureless sphere of pure black. The dark here is not just a lack of photons, it is the end of time and space. Yet it is deeply serene. Once past the event horizon, all paths lead inward. There are no more choices to make. There is no more struggle. There is only the quiet, inevitable pull into the singularity. Yield to the calm of inevitability. Does the darkness have a memory? Even in the darkest, coldest regions of intergalactic space, there is a relic of the beginning. It is the cosmic microwave background. You might think the dark is completely dead, but if you had eyes that could see microwaves, the entire universe would be glowing softly. Imagine sitting in a dark room that was once a blazing furnace. The fire has been out for days, but the bricks still radiate a faint, invisible heat. The darkness of space is the cooling embers of the Big Bang. This invisible glow is the oldest thing in the universe. It permeates every inch of the void. It is the quiet, humming memory of creation. The dark is not a meaningless void. It is the ash of Genesis. As you float through the dark, you are swimming in the memory of the dawn of time. The darkness remembers. Let the ancient memory of the cosmos soothe your soul. Everything has a beginning, and everything eventually cools down. Is the universe getting darker? This is a profound, calming truth. We live in an era of light, a temporary season of stars. The myth is that the universe will always look like this, forever churning out new stars. The harsh reality is that the dark is expanding. The universe is accelerating, pulling galaxies apart faster than light can travel between them. Imagine standing in a circle of friends, holding candles in a vast, dark field. Slowly, everyone begins walking backward. The lights grow dimmer and dimmer. Soon, the distances become so great that the light of the candles cannot reach you. You are left alone in the dark. In the far future, the sky will be entirely black. Future civilizations, if they exist, will look up and see absolutely nothing. The age of starlight is a brief spark in an endless eternity of dark. This is the destiny of the cosmos. To stretch out, to relax, and to fade into black. Find peace in this ultimate letting go. What happens when the last star dies? We travel to the unimaginable future, the era of the heat death. The myth of an eternal, vibrant universe must finally end. The reality is the ultimate triumph of the dark. Trillions of years from now, the last red dwarf star will exhaust its fuel. It will flicker, and it will go out. Imagine a massive, bustling city at night, where someone slowly walks from block to block, permanently unscrewing every street lamp. One by one, the lights fade. Eventually, there is only one lamp left. Then it too goes dark. Space becomes entirely black. The temperature of the universe drops to absolute zero everywhere. There is no more energy. There is no more movement. There is only a perfect, undisturbed, eternal dark. This is not a tragedy. It is the universe finally falling asleep. It is the end of all chaos, the end of all destruction. It is the perfect, infinite rest. Let your own mind mimic this grand cooling. Let your thoughts flicker and fade into the dark. How can we find comfort in this harsh reality? The sheer scale of this darkness can feel overwhelming. The myth of human significance tells us that we must matter to the cosmos. But the reality of the dark shows us how impossibly small we are. Imagine a single microscopic drop of water trying to change the course of the Pacific Ocean. It cannot. But this realization is deeply freeing. If the universe is an endless, dark void, then our daily anxieties are truly meaningless. The dark does not care about your deadlines. The void does not judge your mistakes. The interstellar medium does not keep track of your failures. The harsh reality of space offers us the greatest gift: absolute perspective. The dark is a blank canvas. It is a place of profound non-judgment. You are free to simply exist. Float in the meaningless, beautiful dark. Let the immense scale of the void shrink your earthly problems until they vanish entirely. Is the darkness truly our enemy? We are biologically programmed to fear the dark. We associate it with danger, with predators, with the unknown. This is the primal myth we must overcome. In space, the light is the danger. The light is radiation. The light is exploding stars and scorching solar winds. The dark is safety. Imagine walking through a blazing, scorching desert under a cruel sun. You find a deep, cool, perfectly dark cave. You step inside and the heat instantly vanishes. The darkness of space is that cool cave. It protects us. The vast distances of dark space keep the explosive violence of the universe far away from our fragile world. The emptiness is a cosmic quarantine. It is the dark that keeps the planet safe. Without the immense void, the universe would be a chaotic, burning inferno. Embrace the dark as your protector. It is a thick, impenetrable shield of calm. What happens when astronauts experience this true dark? We call it the overview effect. The myth is that astronauts look out the window and only see the beautiful Earth. The reality is that they also look the other way. They look into the abyss. When an astronaut turns their back to the sun and the Earth, they face the darkest black the human eye has ever registered. Imagine standing on the very edge of a cliff that drops into infinite nothingness. Those who have seen it describe a profound psychological shift. They realize the fragility of light. They understand that the dark is the default state of existence. This creates a deep sense of inner peace. The mind stops fighting. It surrenders to the majesty of the void. You don't need a spacesuit to feel this. You only need to close your eyes and imagine the vast, silent ocean of space. Let the overview effect wash over you. You are part of this grand, dark universe. Let us begin our return journey. We have explored the deepest, coldest, and darkest corners of reality. We have debunked the myths of a brightly lit cosmos. We have floated in the Boötes void, stood in lunar shadows, and witnessed the fading of the final stars. Now let us drift back. Imagine the faint, distant glow of our sun returning. It is just a tiny spark in the immense night. As we approach, it grows. The dark retreats just a little. But now you know the truth. The dark never left. It is waiting just behind every ray of light. The harsh reality of space is its endless darkness, but it is a darkness that brings rest. It is a darkness that brings peace. As we cross the orbit of the moon, look down at the Earth, our tiny, fragile, brightly lit room floating in the eternal woods. Appreciate the light, but do not fear the dark. The void is always there to catch you when you are tired. It is always there to offer silence. We have reached the end of our journey into the void. We have traveled far beyond the light of our sun, crossed the silent oceans between galaxies, and touched the very edges of the known universe. And what did we find? Not a terrifying abyss, but a peaceful, quiet resting place. The harsh reality of space is that it is overwhelmingly, infinitely dark. Yet in this darkness there is profound beauty. There is an eternal calm. The silence of the universe is not a threat, it is a lullaby. It reminds us of how rare and precious our little world truly is. A tiny, glowing spark, resting gently in an endless protective night. As you return your focus to your body, as you feel the gravity of Earth holding you safely in place, carry this immense peace with you. Let the darkness of the cosmos be a blanket for your tired mind whenever you close your eyes. Thank you for traveling with me into the unknown. If this quiet journey brought you peace, please subscribe to the channel and share this moment with others. I would love to know, what part of the endless dark did you find most beautiful?